Self-love is almost like a life hack to having a good life. When you're able to cultivate self-love from within, you'll feel more confident. You'll attract more good things into your life because you're of this high vibrational frequency. So through the law of attraction, you will attract more good experience into your life. People will love to be around you because anyone that radiates a lot of self-love and confidence feels good to other people. And this is also for the people who sometimes feel like there's something missing, who feel stressed, who sometimes feel lonely. In these times, there's always a lack of self-love, self-worth, self-esteem, believing in yourself, knowing your worth. These are all interchangeable concepts and are all related to self-love. My name is Davy. I'm a PhD student in chemical engineering at the University of Cambridge. In my free time, I love to study anything self-development, law of attraction, spirituality, but also human psychology, and how this even plays into quantum physics when it comes to the law of attraction. Today, I'm going to give you 11 tips to cultivate self-love. But before that, I want to introduce you to someone that is probably in between you and being able to cultivate self-love. Everyone on earth here has an ego. Not everyone with the ego is egocentric, but we all have an ego. The ego is the part of our mind that is trying to keep us safe. To simply put it, the ego is sort of the negative voice in your head. The one that doubts yourself, the one that criticizes yourself, the one that criticizes others, judges others, the one that tells you you're not able to do things, you're not good enough. And truly, we'll never be fully able to get rid of the ego. The ego is part of our software programmed in our mind to keep us safe. The part of you that is not your ego is your soul. That is who you truly are. That is the being that does things from love and compassion, doesn't judge others, has no judgment, doesn't judge itself, and loves itself. So practicing self-love is, in a way, living from your soul instead of your ego. In short, it is about realizing that you have a choice. When negative thoughts arise, you have a choice to not feed them, to not feed the ego. When something in your outer experiences is irritating you or annoying you or triggers anger or triggers doubt or triggers fear, it is about realizing that at that point you have a choice to respond and not react. We've all had examples in our life where we were able to let go of our ego. So think about an example where you were super angry at someone and then over time, maybe it was a week, maybe it was a year, depending on how big your ego is, where you were able to let go of that anger. Now that was a moment where you stepped out of your ego. And not living from your ego or not identifying in the mind is about shortening that time period where you're able to let go of impulsive, negative emotions. So when something triggers you in the surrounding and you feel anger coming up, that will still happen. That is our ego. Our ego is triggered in that moment. But because we realize it is our ego in that moment and it is not who we truly are, we are able to let go of it. And that is really what not identifying with the ego is about. This is not about controlling your thoughts. Controlling behavior is your ego again. This is about accepting whatever is happening, that it is part of your experience, part of your triggers, part of your learning experience, and understanding that whatever triggers anger in you is something that you're dealing with, that has to do with your experience. You're attracting that into your life. And when you think of it like that, it's sometimes easier to let go of, rather taking the time to think, okay, why does this trigger me so much? What in me is now feeling offended? If you practice this consistently, whenever you feel triggered, at some point you will be able to respond and choose how to reply to your outer experience instead of feeling triggered and forced into negative emotions. Moving on to the actual 11 tips. The first and foremost tip is stop negative self-talk. What do you tell yourself when you look in the mirror? Are you pointing out the things that you don't like? What do you tell yourself about the work you've done? Are you criticizing it? Are you telling yourself it's not good enough? Are you afraid of what other people might think of the work that you do or what you're saying or doing? Are you always being your own critic? Maybe there's this person in your life or teacher or someone you've met, always complaining, always being critical. Do you like this person? Do you enjoy being around this person? No. So why would you be that person in your head? Why are you always being negative? Why are you always criticizing yourself? It's hard to love yourself if you're always being so critical towards yourself. So the first thing to stop the negative self-talk is become aware of it. When do you do it? Really listen to yourself. When are you being negative about yourself? When are you making small little comments like, oh, that isn't good enough. Oh, that's really bad. Oh, that doesn't look good. When are you being critical towards yourself? And once you become aware of when you talk negatively to yourself, override it. Override it with the polar opposite thought. Let's say you're writing something or you are presenting something and you're criticizing yourself and telling yourself, oh, you know, I'm a bad presenter. I can't do this, or I'm bad at writing, or this is written really badly. Tell yourself the polar opposite. No, I'm good at writing. I'm good at presenting. I'm good. Affirm it to yourself. Replace the negative self-talk with positive self-talk. Even if you don't believe it yet in the beginning, do it, try it, because you will like yourself more if you're being nice to yourself. We all like a compliment. Why don't we give a compliment to ourselves and see how it makes us feel? And slowly you start to like yourself and compliment yourself more, because a person that we like, we want to compliment. The second tip is take care of your health and your body. This seems pretty straightforward, but what often happens is that the way we treat our body is a result of the way we feel. So let's say we're feeling really good. We're often, you know, taking good care of our bodies. And then the moments we're feeling down or we feel like we have an off day, we also let go of taking care of our body. Especially on those days where we don't feel great or we're in our head, taking care of our body can lift our vibration and make us feel better, because our mind, body, and spirit are all connected. So if our mind is feeling off, we can almost counter effect that by taking good care of our body, and then our mind will start to feel better as well. These are all interlinked. The third tip is don't live in a rush. We live in a society, especially if we have work and things going on, where we have a lot to do. It is sometimes tempting to live in a rush, always thinking in your head, oh, what is the next thing I'm gonna do? So you're never really in the present moment. You're always thinking about the next thing. You're making yourself stressed. You're creating a lot of adrenaline. And if we do everything in a rush, we never really have time to be happy in the present moment, because we're ruining the whole experience. Rush is never really gonna get you anywhere quicker. Just take your time to do things and do it intentionally and mindful. The fourth tip is finish what you started. So this is about when you make a promise to yourself, to committing to do a certain work assignment, finish it. The feeling of having something finished is that accomplishment feeling, generates such a positive vibration. It makes us feel good about ourselves. It makes us respect ourselves, because we know that when we promise something to ourselves, we'll do it. For example, you're cleaning your room and then you look at your laptop and you remember this other assignment that you have to do and you just jump to that assignment. Maybe just first finish cleaning your room. It will make you feel better. It will make you feel accomplished. And then when you do the next thing, which is, you know, whichever work assignment you have to do, you'll do that with more ease and grace as well. Fifth tip is being authentic and being honest. This is about not lying, being true to yourself, being true to who you are, expressing our desires and values truthfully. By being authentic, you're never pretending to be something you're not. You're just being yourself. And this is a very high vibrational frequency to be in. And the funny part about being authentic and speaking the truth is that every single person in your life picks up on whether you're speaking the truth or not, or whether you're being authentic. If you're not being authentic, or if you're pretending to be something you're not, it makes other people around you uncomfortable. And being authentic in yourself doesn't mean that everyone agrees with everything you're saying. It just means that there's a certain authenticity and truth in the things you're saying and the things you're doing, because they align with who you are, they align with your values and align with who you want to be. And when you allow yourself to be yourself, you're also saying to yourself, I'm good enough. I like myself, so I'm allowed to be myself. A good example of moments when we might not be authentic ourselves is when we just meet someone, right? Or maybe we have a big job interview or a presentation, or we might go on a first date. We're too much concerned in our mind about what is the other person thinking, what are the other people thinking about what I'm doing right now. And once we get in our head into what other people are thinking, we're immediately not being true to ourselves. Because if we're worried about what other people are thinking, we're gonna think of what they might want to see or what they might want us to be, or ways where they would judge us less. And in that way, we're not being ourselves. We're just more focused on the outer world and what other people are thinking instead of trusting in yourself. But once you really understand the power that is attached to authenticity, you would never want to be anything else than yourself again, because actually it's the way people would judge you least, because you're just yourself. You believe in yourself, and even if people don't agree with what you're saying, your energy aligns with who you are, which is magnetic. Sixth reason is you have clear boundaries. You only do things that you want to do. Someone is overstepping your boundary, disrespecting you, you walk away. Why? Because you respect yourself enough and you understand your own value enough to not allow any treatment that crosses any of your boundaries. And if you're unclear of your own boundaries, you can sit down with yourself and write down what you value in people, what you think is important, and how you would want to be treated. And once you've defined that clearly for yourself, anytime anything in your experience happens where someone oversteps a boundary or a value that you hold, you'll realize this and I'm walking away. Seventh tip is have a self-care routine. This is very subjective to everyone's own experience. This could be cooking a nice meal for yourself, or a skincare routine, or going to the gym, or taking a nice shower, or anything you can do to take care of yourself that makes you feel good. And even the things you're already doing to yourself, you could turn into a self-care routine. The way you go to bed at night, why don't you make that a self-care routine? Intentionally do it in a way that makes you feel good. For example, have clean sheets, or shower before you go to bed, or whatever is gonna make the experience more pleasant for you, makes you feel good. Or anything you would do for a good friend or someone you love or your child that would make their experience easier. Do that for yourself. The eighth tip for cultivating self-love is being consistent. The people that you trust in your life are probably the people that are consistent, that show up for you when you need them, that you can count on and have a certain level of consistency in your life. Well, be that person for yourself. If you promise to do something for yourself, then do it. Be consistent with yourself. You have certain goals and dreams that you're working towards and that requires you to take some action. Be consistent. Consistency, we grow respect for ourselves, and respect is a large part of self-love. The ninth point, to cultivate self-love, you need to be kind to others. How much we criticize others or how much we judge others is directly related to how confident we are. Because the more we criticize others and the more we're judging others, the more we're also worried about what others might think of us and how others might judge us, and the less confident we are. And this is about when you're scrolling through Instagram, what are your thoughts? Are you criticizing people, or are you walking on the street and thinking, oh, that person looks weird? Or are you annoyed at the person working at the register who is being a bit slow? These are all moments of your ego coming up. You're judging others for no particular reason. And the more you do this, the more your ego is also busy with being judged, and the more you create a negative experience for yourself. So become aware of this. How often are you criticizing people in your life, on the streets, your colleagues, maybe even your friends? And try to replace it with the opposite. Try to see if you can think of a compliment that you could give them in your head. The less you judge others, the less you'll worry about judgment of others. The 10th tip for self-love, accept that the only person that needs to believe in you is you. Only person that can have a certain vision for yourself in mind, maybe it's about having a certain desire or a certain goal, is you. The only way we get things in life is when we believe in ourselves. And it doesn't matter if our parents or our friends or whoever believes in us, it doesn't matter. None of their beliefs about you truly matter, because law of attraction is about what you believe about you and what you want to manifest and what you feel. And the only person that manifests your life is you. Truly knowing that all it takes for something to happen is you believing in you creates confidence with which you can manifest anything into your life. 11th and final tip, only do things for yourself and if it is true to you. So anything in your life, the work you're doing, the friends that you're meeting, food that you're eating, anything that you do should align with who you are and who you want to be. To validate whether something aligns with who you are, it's just asking yourself, does this make me feel good? Does this make me feel happy? Does this make me feel better? And if the answer to it is yes, then it aligns with who you are. And everything you do in life should align with who you are. And of course, sometimes you might have to do a presentation that you don't want to do for work, or tasks that you don't really necessarily might feel like doing. But then think about the bigger picture. Does it in the long run contribute to who you want to be? And if the answer to that is yes, then even doing that small task might become easier because it aligns with who you are and you know this is part of who you want to be. So if you made it up until now, thank you so much for watching. If you found anything valuable, leave a like to this video. I would greatly appreciate it. It would help my channel grow. I really hope there was any part of this video that resonated with you and might help you with cultivating self-love. Sending you loads of love.